Hi, this is Bedroom Medicine. Welcome to the Bedroom Medicine Biostat review series. Today I'm going to talk about sensitivity and specificity. So this is the formula they give you in many resources, and I hate to think of it this way. As these true positives, false negatives, this terminology makes everything more confusing. So today I'm going to tell you how I think of the concept of sensitivity and specificity, and hopefully I hope that my way of remembering this concept will be more intuitive and much more easier to remember instead of this conventional table way of memorizing it. So first with the sensitivity. For sensitivity, we really need to focus on the word itself, sensitivity, which means it's about sensing the disease. In other words, how good is this test in sensing the disease? So let's say that the gray box represents the population with the disease. And let's assume that the blue box here is a sensor which tries to find the people with the disease. And in our case, this would be our diagnostic test of interest. So remember, we want to sense the disease, and the blue box is a sensor that tries to detect the disease. The sensor could get the results right, sensing people with the disease correctly. And also, the sensors could be wrong, saying that the people have the disease when they actually do not. So since our goal was to evaluate how good the test is in sensing the disease, the proportion of this green box out of all the population with the disease, which is the gray box outside, would be our sensitivity. And hopefully, this makes perfect sense because this is just the proportion of correctly sensed people, hence the sensitivity we were talking about. So my way of remembering the sensitivity formula, instead of utilizing all the true positive, false negative terminology, and so on, would be this: correctly sensed people out of the diseased population. So why is this sensitivity important? Why do we want this? Why do we want to sense the disease? In other words, why do we want the green zone to be bigger? We want the green box to be bigger when we do not want to miss the disease. And as you can see, when the green box gets bigger, there are less people with the disease that the sensor misses, which means greater sensitivity is needed for screening. In other words, it is effective in ruling out a disease. Now let's move on to specificity. And for everyone who made this far, would know that I hate this way of remembering it. So let's jump into how I remember this. For specificity, it's easier now actually. It's just another type of sensitivity, but the other way around. So what does that mean? We do the exact same thing, but we just start with the people with no disease and trying to sense these populations. And it's the same process. With our sensor, which would be our diagnostic tool, we try to sense the population, except for this time, people with no disease. And just like sensitivity, the proportion of this green box will represent specificity. So the formula is just basically of how many people with no disease is correctly sensed. Again, this is just another type of sensitivity, and the only difference is that we try to sense people with no disease instead of people who have them. So, when do we want to be specific? In other words, when do we want the green zone to be bigger? For specificity, we want to make sure that we find all the healthy population, all the people with no disease. And to put it in another way, high specificity would be required in a confirmatory test after screening. We want to be specific. We want to confirm that these people do not have the disease. So to summarize, we looked at a more intuitive way of remembering sensitivity and specificity. These two go through the exact same process of calculation, sensing the population of interest, with sensitivity trying to sense people with the disease, and specificity trying to sense the population with no disease. All we want to do is find the proportion of this correctly sensed green zone. That will be the end of this video. Thanks for watching, guys. Please like and subscribe for more videos, and best of luck with your USMLE prep. Bye-bye.